Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Roy's Tie-Dye Sci-Fi Corner. This is episode number 307, and we are doing a special tribute to Martin Landau. His birthday, his 98th birthday, would have been tomorrow, which is Saturday, June 20th. He was born in 1928, and again, it would have been his 98th birthday, so I thought it would be nice just to celebrate that with the discussion of two sci-fi classic shows, well, one more sci-fi and the other one more anthology. But anyway, with that said, we will be discussing the Outer Limits episode tonight, The Man Who Was Never Born, and also the Twilight Zone episode, The Jeopardy Room, both starring Martin Landau. And with that is my friend, my co-host, the one and only Ross Amico. Hey, Ross.
Hey, are we on?
We're on. We're live. You, me, and two other people.
Well, that's good. If it's a small audience, they won't mind if I'm taking notes while we're talking. So
yeah, it's the 100 million viewers that'll be tuning in after on the rerun of the show. That'll be like,
yeah. So what are these guys waffling on about? Is what they'll say. Where are the Vikings?
Where are the Vikings? Yeah. Which, interesting enough, was probably one of our highest episodes ever. Go figure. It's all in the marketing, Ross. It's all in the marketing.
All in the marketing. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. With that said, I want to say hi to the two people that are out there. Actually, we got more people coming in, but so far, Shari's out on a walk, and she says, "Hi, guys. Love that opening. Never gets old. Happy Friday." Thanks, son. And also, we have joining us from Florida, we have Dave Rash. Hey, Dave. Great to see you out there. And Dave is a huge Outer Limits fan. And as I like to say, he is really he is the keeper of the gate. And we really appreciate that. And it's good to see you out there, Dave. So thanks for joining us. Yeah. And Lou is joining us from Rhode Island. Hey, Lou. Thanks for being out there, everyone. Don Bethman is out there. Hey, Don. He's joining us from Delaware. And Marianne is out there. Hey, Marianne. She's also joining us. Eva. Hey, Eva. Thanks for joining us, too. Good to see you out there. So I think I've pretty much caught up with everyone. And, yeah. So, Ross, it's been a lot of stuff going on with everything. And how are you doing? How was your week?
My week was fine. I had to have all of my stuff in early because my supervisor was going on vacation this week. So that forced me to actually do some work this week instead of procrastinating until, Thursday and Friday morning. So, do everything.
Oh, boy.
So it was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not a lot to report other than that. How was your week?
It was good. It was good. Had a nice time up in Canada with Shari. We got to get away for a little bit, so it was nice to get back. But nice to be away. In the sci-fi realm. Now remind me, Ross, which one of your fur babies is that?
This is Pepper.
Pepper. Hi, Pepper.
Yeah. I wanted to call him Pazuzu, but I don't know. Pepper's.
He wasn't having it.
Yeah.
Go
ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Talking about your trip. Yeah.
No, I just wanted to say, in the sci-fi realm, we lost, in regards to special effects director and visual effects supervisor Brian Johnson. Actually, he passed on May 25th, but it was just announced, and which ironically enough was Star Wars Day, the real Star Wars Day. Star Wars came out on that day, and I believe Empire Strikes Back came out, and he was did the special effects for Star Wars. So we are going to be doing a very special episode. It's going to be on July 12th, and it will be a Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I'm going to talk about it in our shout-outs later on. Essentially, and ironically enough, Brian was on the show back in July of 2020 And ironically enough, it was July 12th, and that was also a Sunday. So the stars were kind of in alignment with that. So I thought it would be good to do an episode on that date. And I invite everybody to come on. I mean, we'll do it here and there, but I'm going to be hosting. Unfortunately, Ross is going to not be available to be on with me on that date. But just as far as the impact his work had on us as fans, no matter what the genre was that he was working on, whether it be, obviously Empire Strikes Back was huge. Space 1999 for me is, of course, the big realm. But also he worked on Thunderbirds. He also did 2001: A Space Odyssey. So anyway, just going to welcome everybody to come on and just talk about, how they were influenced in one way or the other, small way, large way, anyway, and really, just how much you appreciated his work. And I just thought it'd be nice just to have all of us just get together to discuss that. Was that Pepper and Rain?
Can you hear the cats killing each other?
Oh my.
Yeah, the boys don't get along too well sometimes.
Boy. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that'll be July 12th. That'll be at 4 p.m. and I'm doing it at 4 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, just to allow. We have a lot of, Brian lived in the UK, and a lot of fans from the UK. So if they are able to join at an earlier time, and again, that was the time when he was on 6 years ago, coming up. So, wow. It's really amazing. So, and that will be the show's 311th episode, which is kind of symbolic with Space 1999. So there you go. Anyway, Marianne saying, haven't seen Outer Limits in years, just watching Twilight Zone early this morning. And Jeff Rubel is saying, hey, dudes. So great seeing everyone out there.
They're all on Tubi now, all the episodes of Outer Limits and Twilight Zone. Am I cloudy? Am I looking cloudy here? Or is that just me? Is my glass?
There's a little bit of a haze.
Yeah, I wonder if I should be.
I wonder if Conrad Hall is doing the photography on your end there, Ross. He was a master, though. He was. I mean, that was deliberate, but it was.
I'm proud of you that you recognize the name.
Say.
Yeah. But it popped out at you. Yeah.
It did. I was like, whoa. Yeah. So yeah, we have lots to talk about. But anyway, I think that's pretty much that for that. Martin Landau has always been I've always loved his work. And I remember watching him for the very first time in seeing him on Mission Impossible growing up in the 1970s. Those reruns were on Channel 5 out of New York, WNEW TV. That was the first time I saw him on there. And I remember my parents talking about, specifically my mom about, his work and everything, and that how him and Barbara Bain, always seemed to work together too. And those were those earlier episodes of the Mission Impossible series. And this is before Space 1999. And then, of course, with 1999, really, enjoyed his work. But it was kind of sad because after that, he kind of had things kind of slowed down for a bit, and you really weren't seeing him. I mean, he did some movies here and there. Ross and I covered Meteor, which was in 1979.
Ouch.
There was the film, and I don't know if the folks out there remember the one movie that he did, and I should be more prepared with this since we're discussing him, but I'm going on my memory right now. But there was an amusement park movie that he did that was also back in 79, which was on NBC. And I think if anybody out there remembers Mike Connors from Mannix, he was the star of that movie. And Martin Landau played the owner of the amusement park. And what happens is things start going wrong and falling apart and everything. And and then there was, of course, which Ross was busting my chops about doing, which was
Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah, on Gilligan's Island, which I was so happy to see both of them, but I just,
I totally would have done that.
I know you would have. And I did not want to do that with Martin Landau. He's done so much. I mean, I'm talking about more of the back end 1970s part of his career. I mean, when you think about the different films and the different things that he did, I mean, it's truly, truly amazing. And yeah, I mean, he was the actor studio. I mean, he was a teacher there. In fact, Shirley Knight, who is in this episode of The Man Who Was Never Born of the Outer Limits, which we're going to be talking about tonight, was a student of his, was in his acting class like 5 years prior to this being filmed. And she went on to have a very successful career. She was very well known. In fact, she was even billed as the special guest star in this episode. Also, Maxine Stewart, she was a member of the actor studio as well. So a lot of talent. And
yeah,
like Ross was talking about before we started, it's amazing when you look at these names, the powerhouses, and it's not only in front of the camera, but even behind the camera.
Yeah.
A lot of talent.
It was an amazing era, and everybody went on to great things.
Yeah,
you know, and watching these things again, especially the Outer Limits episode, reminds you of just how closely connected it is to theater.
Yeah,
you know, they had so much less to work with back then, and yet so much more.
Yeah,
everything was very minimalist, and yet it allowed the actors to really, shine, and the storytelling was very direct. It was you didn't have a lot of handheld. You didn't have the handheld cameras and the mumbled lines. Everybody really went out there and they did their job.
They did, and it really says a lot that what's that old saying? Less is more, and it's so true. And it goes to show you with a minimal budget how the stories really hold up, and it's a driving force. I mean, The Man Who Was Never Born is very poetic. It's a love story in itself. It's about illusions. It's about fantasy. In fact, it was one of the first episodes, I believe, and this was the 6th episode. And Dave, correct me if I'm wrong on that. I believe this was the 6th episode of The Outer Limits. This was in the first season. This was while it was being produced by Joseph Stefano, whose work is incredible. Yeah, and Dave's even saying in regards to Conrad Hall, he said Hall was the master. Absolutely. Yeah. Eva commented and said that she remembers that episode.
Yeah.
Oh, Randy, thanks for joining us. Randy said, drinking beers at Summerfest. Please try your call later. Oh boy, Randy is always doing all these events, but he always finds some way to tune in. So thanks for being out there, Randy, and enjoy.
That guy's a bon vivant. He's a gadabout, that Randy. He's always up to something.
But yeah, I mean, I've always enjoyed this episode, and again, I mean, especially with Martin Landau. Now, had you ever seen this episode before tonight?
I think I did. I mean, I should know for sure because it is such a strong episode. But there are a lot of Outer Limits episodes that I have not seen. I remember the ones with the Nanties, the ants, and the one that Frankham did, of course, and Martin Sheen. Yep. With the astronauts. This kind of reminded me of that because also, again, it was very stagey, the way they had that, and yet very effective. But yeah, it was long enough ago that I didn't remember the twist. Okay. I didn't remember how it wound up because a lot of the Outer Limits, I mean, the setups are great. Of course, everybody remembers the creatures and everything, and then sometimes at the end, there's not that final, punch that you want, And this one had it, This is a really strong episode.
It definitely did. Yeah, and the episode that you were referring to, Ross, was Nightmare, and that was a brilliant episode. And that, Martin Sheen, David Frankham. I can't think of the actor, but if you recall the movie Die Hard, which everybody labels as a Christmas movie, the Nakatomi Towers, where the terrorists take over the building. The actor that was in that, I think John, and I should know his last name, and I can, and I know Dave will know. He'll put it out there. He did a lot of stuff, and the Zanny Misfits, which you were talking about, which Dave just said, and then also he commented. He said, "I have a great story that Joseph Stefano told Marty Landau. I will share that shortly." Okay,
oh,
very
wow,
cool.
that'd be great. Yeah,
We look forward to hearing that, Dave. And Lou just commented, he said, I worked on a movie, a civil action where Conrad Hall was the DP, the director of photography. Now that must have been pretty cool.
I remember that was Travolta was in that.
Wow.
I believe. I didn't see it, but I remember it was probably in the 90s when that was out.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's when Lou was doing a lot of...
or 2000s. Might have been early 2000s. No, 90s. 90s.
Probably late 90s, I would imagine.
Late 90s, yeah.
I'm going to guess.
It was after Pulp Fiction, when Travolta was hot again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, oops, hold on a second, Ross. I'm having technical issues. Here we go. Okay, I'm back. And Dave is sharing the story. And he says, Joseph Stefano was the producer-writer of season 1 of The Outer Limits. Dorothy Brown was the director of the ABC Continuity Acceptance Department, the censors. Broadcast standards were extremely stringent in 1963. Many years later, Stefano told Martin Landau, I used to get a phone call from Dorothy Brown, who was the head of that department, the censors at ABC. Every morning, Dorothy Brown would call, and she said that she liked Martin Landau. She thought he was an extremely handsome man. So...
So do we get the ellipsis? Is there more coming, or is that the end?
Stay tuned.
Yeah, we knew Alan Rickman.
Yeah, Alan Rickman, Hans Gruber. Yes.
Oh, is that who you were trying to think of? He wasn't in the episode, though. He was too young.
No, I was thinking of John Shatik. I can't think of his last name.
Yeah, I don't recall myself. Unlike most people, I wasn't a big Die Hard guy.
You weren't?
Yeah.
No.
What's that?
I said you really weren't?
I was not a big Die. Yeah, it surprises you to know, Roy. But for me, that was around the time the movie started to lose it for me.
Dave said, so why did we have to make his mask so ugly? Yeah, and just to remind the folks out there, I'm gonna share some slides. So
good punchline. I'm glad he saved it.
And there he is. The man who was never born.
Yeah. It's funny though, because I wasn't sure what part he played in the episode when it started, but then I knew immediately as soon as he started talking. I mean, you get to see him in the makeup. Yeah.
Now, do you remember Shirley Knight, Ross?
Oh yeah, I do. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember this other guy though, but apparently he's in a lot of. All of these guys were in a lot of stuff, television and some movies. He wrote the screenplay for a Robert Altman film called A Wedding, and I think it was around 1978. Which I remember Gene and Roger gave it a good thumbs up, double thumbs up or whatever. But he was the screenwriter for it, in addition to being an actor.
Yep.
So and he comes from a family of actors, and I guess one of his brothers was a news correspondent or something, a political commentator. I didn't realize that. So it's probably somebody very famous that I don't know.
Well, his name is John Considine.
Yeah, so it was the same last name, but I didn't recognize the name. I may have been too young or not paid attention. Yeah. I get my monomania like you. You like what you like, and then that's what you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
On the left, there's Martin Landau again, and then you have Carl Held. Now, interesting enough with Carl Held, he went on to do a lot of stuff, and he did a lot of stuff beforehand. He was in Perry Mason. He did a Star Trek episode called The Return of the Archons. The folks remember that. It was a first season episode with Landrew. That was the episode. And also, he was in Space 1999, and he was in the second to the last episode of the second series, The Immunity Syndrome. And I've actually had the pleasure, he has been on this show, and I had the pleasure of interviewing him. Warren and I, when we did the virtual Space 1999 convention, that was the first time I actually got to meet him virtually. And he talked about his career, talked about working on space, talked about working on Star Trek. In fact, his wife was in a Star Trek episode, and she was in the Deadly Years, and she played the scientist that Kirk was in, was a former lover of Kirk's. And then what's happening is he's going through the whole aging process. And he talks about, her working on that. And she was a Broadway actress as well, too. And sadly, she's since passed. But Carl's doing really well. And I actually got to see him last year because he was at the convention in Burbank. And I was going to I reached out to him very late, but I was going to try to see if he could have came on to the tonight's show just as a surprise. But my timing was really bad. So I kind of dropped the ball on that. I should have thought about doing it, earlier than later, but I would like to have him back on. And he's a heck of a nice guy. But, and then in the other photo with Martin Landau and Shirley Knight on the right is an actress. Her name was Maxine Stewart. And
Stewart. I don't think it was a T. Was it Seward?
Oh, Seward? Okay. My bad on that.
It might have been Stewart, but I thought it was Seward. Yeah.
Yeah, it probably was. You know me with names, Ross. But like Martin Landau, who was belonged to the Actors Studio, and Shirley Knight as well. So did Maxine Seward. She was also a part of that. So again, a lot of powerhouses as far as talents, in front of the camera, behind the camera, and literally in this episode.
Yeah. And I thought it was very interesting to learn that the episode itself was done only 5 months after the last of the Project Mercury launches. We forget how early. Well, I mean, us youngins, we forget just how early that went because we know the moon landings at the other end of the decade. But this was already science fact. That we had people up in space already, or at least orbiting the Earth. So it's kind of interesting that Outer Limits hopped on that. It might have just been in the air. It might, literally, but or out of the air, out of the atmosphere. But the writer, I guess. Okay, so I guess it was Anthony Lawrence who came up with the story,
right?
And he said he was inspired by Jean Cocteau's Beauty and the Beast, La Belle et la Bête, which is a classic.
He loved the French film.
It's a beautiful movie. And obviously, Francis Ford Coppola was majorly influenced by it when he did the remake of Dracula. That screams Cocteau's Beauty and the Beast. But so he tried to bring some of that to this, and you can feel it. It's like a fable. It's like a fairy tale story. There's something that's also there's something heightened about it. There's also, though, she had the frog.
Yes.
Earlier on, and that also had me thinking about the the Frog Prince, or the you kiss the frog and it becomes Prince kind of thing. And she had that empathy for these things that aren't conventionally beautiful. It's like, ew, it's a frog kind of thing. But she saw the Lando's character's beauty. Is what it was.
There was a lot of foreshadowing in this episode, which. Yeah. Ironically enough, it's talking about time, and a lot of different, not a lot, but I mean, there's different stories taking place within this one episode, again, which is the brilliance of the Outer Limits and also this specific episode. Hold that thought before I go on. I'm just going to catch up on the comments. Dave said, James, yeah, thank you. Okay. Dave, excuse me. James said, I'll try that again. Dave said James Shigeta, and I can't pronounce his name, and I'm not going to pronounce it correctly. Don said his Outer Limits appearance made me watch Flower Drum Song. Dave is telling another story. He said Martin Landau was one of only 2 witnesses at Shirley Knight's real-life wedding. According to Landau, this time I didn't show up with a gun. True story. For the folks out there that don't recall the story or haven't seen it, I'm not going to go through it as Ross takes his drink. It's about an astronaut that's essentially in the orbit of the Earth. And I don't know if you caught this, Ross, but in regards to the effects, I mean, the way they were doing the front screen the back screen projection, I was buying into it with the way they were showing the Earth and everything. It looked decent. I mean, it was a minimalistic set, but it worked. It really.
That's the crazy thing is that I was thinking the same thoughts, but they're expressed kind of. I'm thinking them differently because I was thinking, it was more realistic than it is now. I mean? Because the actor was so, he was human. You know what I mean? His reactions were human. He was normal. It wasn't like heightened with a quick cutting and the special effects and everything. It felt like a real space flight, even though the effects themselves would not be, what we would consider state of the art now.
Right. It wasn't Brian Johnson's amazing work.
No,
the Eagles,
but it served the story,
It worked for the story, the staging and everything. And it was
the
so
acting was good. Yeah.
The acting was really good. You just kind of, it didn't matter about the special effects. It was like, okay, it is what it is. But you know what? I didn't care. It was all story driven. And, he's basically caught in some kind of time warp, convulsion, as they say. He passes through it and then he lands back on Earth. But when he lands back on Earth is essentially devastated. It's destroyed. And he is met by a mutant, and that's Martin Landau's character, who's Andros. Now, Andros, I was reading, means man of Earth, or there's in regards to his name.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That seems like it would have a classical root to it. Like androgynous. Andro is probably man or I'd have to look it up. But I mean, you did look it up. Anybody can look it up. I'm pulling I don't like to do this during the show.
Yeah, it's all good. So with
it's
that,
Greek for male, man, masculine.
Yeah. And he essentially tells the astronaut, who's Joseph Reardon, who is played by Carl Held, that the Earth was destroyed, but it was destroyed by a mutant microbe, an alien microbe that was developed by this one scientist. There they go again. And whoops. As a result of this, Earth is no more. It's been devastated. And Reardon can't deal with the fact that this has happened. And he wants to try to correct it. And he feels that since he went into the future, because he is in Earth's future, then what he can do is he can go in the past. And since Andros knows that Bertram Cabot Jr. caused this, he knows all the facts about his life and everything. He insists that he'll help Reardon. So they head back into space, and he's trying to find the area where he went through that warp. And just when that happens and they go through it again, Andros makes it through, but Reardon feels himself convulsing, but this time it's not stopping, and he realizes that he's dying, and his last words are to Andros.
Spoilers.
No, it's 63 years old. It's okay, Ross.
I know, but if you haven't seen it, you haven't seen it.
Yeah. And
I don't care about age.
Everybody that watches the show knows that at this point, so I'm not worried about that.
All right.
So anyway, what happens is they go back. He makes it, but unfortunately, Andros, rather Reardon doesn't. And he told him that, make sure to stop him, kill him, do what you have to do. So Andros lands on Earth because he put the ship on automatic pilot, and he even said that he was going to do that. And when he gets to Earth, the area that he is in, that's when he meets up with Noelle, who we don't know at the time. We know that Noelle was going to be, the mother of Bertram Cabot Jr. And the irony is her name is Noelle, mother of Christmas, right? and that sets everything in place. And he's trying to basically find and stop him, and rationalize with him. But what he doesn't realize is that he hasn't been born yet, and then that he hasn't even been conceived yet, and that puts thing into motion.
And he starts thinking about all the different things that he different options, which I thought the options were very limited, because one of the things was, I don't know if at any point he considered actually killing her, but he tried to dissuade her from marrying this guy. And I was thinking the twist was going to be, well, how, it's a patrilinear thing that the kid would take the father's name. So it really doesn't matter who the mother was. So even if he dissuaded, Shirley Knight, her character, he could marry somebody else, and it would be that their kid would still bear his name. So that could be, you know what I mean? He might have been chasing a false lead there.
No, and I'll tell you why. Because in the history books, Noelle was the mother.
Did they mention her?
Yeah.
Oh, they did. All right. So
yeah.
I was not a careful viewer, I guess.
It's okay.
I'm not as sharp as I used to be. Oh, really? So that was mentioned at the beginning of the episode?
Yeah, because what happens is when they are at that library and they're going through everything, he says that they, as the remaining people, the mutants, essentially grew to learn about Cabot and knew everything about him. His parents, essentially his mother, and he even says that's when he even mentions Noelle about the name.
Yeah. That was great the way they did that subterranean library, because that was obviously a painting in the back that had the perspective, and I really liked the way that they did that, because it you could tell it wasn't real, but it looked real.
Well, especially with high definition. I mean, if you're watching it on the clarity, it gives it away. But if you're watching it back in 1963, it really.
I'm a guy who loves matte painting, so it's. But it was so cool, and I was watching the way that they lit it so that the actors wouldn't cast a shadow on the wall. It was fun. Yeah.
Dave said the original script had a different ending. I will try to cut and paste the original ending from the script. Thank you so much, Dave. That's really cool. That'd be great to say. So there's what starts out that he's trying to eliminate this person that essentially destroys humanity, turns into something else. And to your point, when he first runs into Noelle, I mean, they set it up where she's alone, she's out, she's in the boat, and she's amongst the nature, and again, the beautiful photography by Conrad Hall. I mean, it's exquisite. I mean, it's breathtaking. And even the way Martin Landau delivers, his character, it's just very refined in his speech, and it's very poetic, and it just truly just flows. And there's a lot of symbolism, again, with you mentioned about the frog and the way she's just holding it and she's not afraid of it. And it again,
well, it was very well acted. I liked how in one of the shots, Landau, when he's out along the pond or what have you, when she calls to him, they were always doing this thing where they would kind of make things a little hazy, and there'd be that transformation where he would go from the ugly mutant back into Martin Landau. And at the one point, he uses his body language, even though there's no makeup, to kind of just straighten up, just to suggest that he was the creature at a point, or the mutant. So, it was very well done. Good performance by Landau. And that was a great example of knowing you're watching good actors in a, almost, like I said, almost a stage. Even though they open it up and get outside for a little bit, but it was almost the stuff on the planet and in the underground library and on the spaceship, they were all almost like literally at the end, a stage set. or is this a couple of chairs basically?
Yeah.
And it was all done with lighting.
But what's interesting too is I think she's with him for, and now I'm talking about her fiance, because Andros finds out that they're to be married, and she's so quick to run off with Andros. It's almost like she's in a haze. She's in a fog. You know what I mean? Everything that's going on with her life is an illusion of what she was conceiving. And what Andros was conceiving is as far as what, Earth would be like when he returns to it, from destruction. And then he's being faced with more destruction in the sense that of what's going to happen. Everything is just not what it appears to be, or not what it seems. And it's a whole perception.
And it was all heightened the way it was done, because her turning on a dime like that, I think it just played into the whole fairy tale or fable kind of telling of the story. And the fact that the groom and his his wedding, his first what do you call it, best man, and they come running out with rifles to chase him.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, and they're shooting at him, but she's with, and that's what really bothered me. It's like he's so worried about her. This is the fiance, and he's shooting a rifle at Andro, and he's right next to her. I mean, he could have clipped her.
I guess, granted, he did pull a gun at the ceremony, but I thought, what is this? 3 guys running with rifles shooting at him.
Now, Dave just posted, and he said, Noelle lands back on Earth, right where the archive that preserved the cherished history of mankind was at. And then she meets a man and ... Well,
he'll give us the punchline in a minute, I hope. Don't leave us hanging, Dave.
He said, unfortunately, I cannot attach a file or picture.
But what's the twist? She meets a man who... What is it?
You know what, Dave? You can do this. If you can take a picture or an image of it, send it to my instant message me, and then what I'll do is I'll clip it on and I'll put it on. So if you can send it through IM, and then what I'll do is I'll post it on there, and then I'll show everybody that way. That's so cool. Thanks so much, Dave. If you can, if it's not too much problem. I want to say hi to Bill. Bill's joining us from Long Island.
Hello.
Hi to Bill and Mary. Good to see you out there. But, he said, okay, 2 images to follow. Awesome.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good.
And I'll work my behind the scenes magic, or try to anyway.
Work your behind, Roy.
But, no.
Have another drink, Ross.
What was that?
I said, have another drink, Ross. I'm taking a bath in this stuff. I don't know what happened here.
Oh, boy.
Like a frat party.
Yeah.
So, should we keep talking, or are we gonna? Or did it come through?
No, what I wanted to bring up is I was talking about Martin Landau's later accomplishments, but I wanted to remind everybody too that Dave is sending everything through. Just about, I think last year what we did was at this time we had talked about North by Northwest with James Mason, Eva Marie Saint, Cary Grant. I mean, that was a heck of a movie.
Yeah, it's one of a lot of people's favorites of the classic movies and the Hitchcock films. Yeah. And that was when did this air? 1963. So that was already he had already been in that at this point, because I think it was 1959 or something. North by Northwest.
Yes. Yeah. It was much earlier.
Let me see. 59. Yeah, the same year as the Twilight Zone episode, actually. I think he
Well,
was
the
in
Twilight's an episode that he was in 1964.
Are we talking about the Mr. Denton?
No, that was an earlier one.
Yeah.
That was
Because that's the one we did, right? Or did I look at the wrong one?
Did you look at that one? We were doing the Jeopardy room.
We watched different episodes.
They're digging in the wrong place. I am the monarch of the sea.
I thought it was peculiar that you would have chosen that one. So now I know why, because you didn't choose that one. But it was that I said, "Oh, good, Dan Duryea's in this one." All right. Well, what the hell?
That's what happens when you don't attend staff meetings, Ross.
Yeah. We're writing back and forth about it. I don't know why I thought that was the one.
That's all right. Worst things have happened.
Yeah.
It's all good. But what's another favorite? Did you see Cleopatra?
I did. He was in Cleopatra. He's in The Greatest Story Ever Told.
Yeah.
These were kind of early roles for him, but he started to get, he was a name at that point. He was somebody that people would recognize. And then, of course, he did a lot of episodic television. And then, as you said, Rowland Hand and Mission Impossible.
Which specifically was written in, Bruce Geller wrote that for Martin Landau, too, which was really cool. That specific character. Yeah. And he did not want to be tied down to a weekly television show. Right. But that's why, it always would say special guest appearance by Martin Landau in at least the first season.
Yeah, it's interesting. He always had kind of a sinister quality to him, so he played a lot of villains or morally ambiguous characters. You didn't know where they were going to go, kind of. But then he had that vulnerability that he brought that you could see in movies like Tucker later on, for which he was nominated for his first Oscar for that.
Yeah,
where it was a touching performance, and you saw that side of him more, I think, in some of the later movies, except Crimes and Misdemeanors.
that was after, though, too.
Yeah.
That came later. I think, if I remember, Tucker and A Man in His Dream was 1988, if I'm remembering that correctly. And the other one that you just mentioned, the
Crimes and Misdemeanors. Yeah,
Crimes and Misdemeanors, with whatchamacallit, Woody Allen. That was 1991, I believe.
Was it that late?
Yeah, it was either 1990 or 91. I think it was 91.
Yeah, for some reason I don't know why I thought it was 89, but yeah, because I kind of have a for me, like the Woody Allen movies kind of changed after in the 90s, and then they got bad after 2000. But before that, he was one of the great American filmmakers. I think Crimes and Misdemeanors was like the last really great one that he did. He made some good ones after that, don't get me wrong. But anyway,
that was with Angelica Houston, right?
Yes. Yeah. I'm kind of mixes the comedy and the tragedy.
Yeah,
the comedy and drama. Yeah.
All right, I'm almost there, Ross. Almost there. But no, to your point, though, I mean, he and then he did a lot of episodic television in the 60s and everything. And then we were even discussing the movie that he did with Barbara Bain in 1971, which was Savage.
Oh, the TV movie. Yeah. Yeah. That was directed by Steven Spielberg, by the way. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I either didn't know about it or it just was totally off my radar. And I don't know how I came across it today. I said, we missed the boat on this. It's not sci-fi, though.
No, but that's all right.
But the players, the fact that it's Landau and Bain and Spielberg makes it very interesting to our demographic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it's on what is it? Archive, Internet Archive. It's on a couple of things. I think somebody may have put it on something else too.
I think it's on YouTube too, isn't it?
Possibly. I usually go for whichever one doesn't have the commercials, as long as the print's okay.
Okay.
But it is a television movie, so
Yeah, but it works. It definitely works.
yeah.
So I'm gonna try to share the screen and do this as best I can. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Spielberg didn't want to do that movie, by the way.
Oh, he didn't?
He didn't want to do the pilot. Yeah, because he had already done Duel, and he thought he was on his way. And I think Universal, I forget who lassoed him in on that. Which is funny because the current movie, I think, is Universal. The one that's out, Disclosure Day, I think is a Universal movie. So how far has he come, 60 years later?
It's crazy.
55 years later, yeah.
Bill said North by Northwest is actually my favorite Landau part. The low-key reference of him being jealous of Eva Marie Saint. Yes.
Yeah, like the suggestion of
that
there's a relationship there. Yeah.
Dave said Landau also appeared in the Stefano scripted Outer Limits episode, The Bolero Shield. Yes. Mm-hmm. John Hoyt. Sally Kellerman's actually, that was her first, if I remember correctly, I think that was her first role and in television, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so now this is what Dave, again, compliments of Dave Rash. Thank you, Dave, for this. Would have been the, I guess, potentially alternate ending that did not actually make it. So after the ship, we see her lose Andro, and then what happens, assuming, is that the ship comes back to Earth, it lands, she gets out, and then she comes across a man, and the man says, "Could I help you?" And then she said, "What is this place?" And he says, "It is London." And he smiles. "That is, if you follow this road, you will come into the old town." And then she says, "And the time?" And he says, "The time?" And then she says, "The year." And his response is 2148. "Are you lost?" And she says, "No, just alone." So probably. What was that, Ross?
Rub it in. But at least she's not stuck in space by herself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sherry's telling a story, and this is and this is so true. So in 2011, I had been trying to catch up with Martin Landau. So what happened was, he was supposed to be in 1987. He was supposed to have been at the Creation Convention in New York City. And when that was announced, I was so excited about it because I thought, oh my God, he's finally going to be there. Going to finally get to meet him. And then what happened was he didn't show. He canceled. And it was such a disappointment. And then what happened was Tucker came out, and then, the rest was pretty much, he was busy. He was very busy. There was the Space 1999 convention he was supposed to be at in 1999. It was the big breakaway convention in California. It was in Los Angeles. And he canceled it at the last minute. He was supposed to be at the one in New York City in 2000, but then he had to do, I think for one of them, it was emergency dubbing for Sleepy Hollow. So anyway, long story short, he didn't get to do those conventions, and he had done the earlier 1999 conventions. So there was a convention that was called Saturday Nightmares. It was actually in, I don't know if Shari's going to remember or not. I think it was actually in Parsippany at the, I don't know if it was there or not. I'd have to look on the internet. It may have been in Parsippany. It really doesn't matter. But anyway, it was an hour from here is the main point. I mean, literally an hour from here. And he was going to be there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And what happened was, we went, and I went with Shari on that Friday. And then what I did was I went back Saturday and I went back Sunday. And I had a lot of stuff and I got it autographed. But when I met him for the very first time in that Friday, he said, And then Shari said, I'm so glad I got to meet him with you. Was that at a Comic-Con? And then she said he was so nice. And then she said, you turned into a young boy again when we were talking to him. I will never forget it. And the funny thing is, Shari said to him, you're making him feel like a kid again. And then he said to her, he's making me feel young again. But it was just a, a great exchange. He was so nice. And I can't say enough about it. And she has that memory, and it was really cool. But Vince and I Vinny, who unfortunately is not out there, got to see him do a play. And it was, I believe the play was entitled 13 Wounded. And it was in Connecticut. And it was on a Friday. And we rushed to get there. And we almost didn't make it because of the traffic. And he was magnificent in it. In fact, we didn't think he was going to come back stage at the end, and he did. And got to talk to him. Just, he signed, the autographs. And I do still have that playbill too. And got to talk to him about it, years later. In fact, the last time I saw him was at the Chiller convention, and that was in where a lot of folks in this area actually got to see him at. In fact, I don't think Diana's out there tonight. In fact, she was looking forward to seeing this episode, but she was there. But Bob Kay, who has become a friend and was a friend of Martin's, had these photos given to Martin from like Star Trek, because he was friends with Leonard Nimoy, called him Lenny, and his ex-wife. And he even said to me when we were talking about Space 1999, he pulled out his phone. He goes, I want to show you these. He goes, because I know you're a fan. And he's going through them, and he's showing like pictures of him with Leonard Nimoy and everything. It was really cool. But anyway, just sharing with that. Want to say hi to May. May is joining us from Canada. Welcome, May. Great to see you out there. And Bill said slow connection or very high-res photos. Yeah, it's probably a little bit of both. So anyway, that's that. But The Man Who Was Never Born, it was like a Greek tragedy. It was, these two people finally being able to come together, and very poetic. And then what happens is the one thing that Andrew was trying to do to prevent the destruction of the human race, prevent his own existence.
Yeah, they were star-crossed. I didn't quite understand why he wouldn't exist, though, because he would still be born. He just wouldn't be a mutant.
Well, here's the thing, and this is a great lead-in for this, Ross. So thank you very much for that, Ross.
You got the book.
I got the book.
You got the
book.
And
I think the book, hold on a second, has the quote. And Vic Perrin, who was the control voice for The Outer Limits. So when the episode opened, it opened with this. Here in the bright, actually, I'm speaking of bright, because I'm the late.
There you go.
Here in the bright, clustered loneliness of the billion stars, loneliness can be exciting, voluntary thing, unlike the loneliness man suffers on Earth. Here, deep in the starry nowhere, a man can be seen as one with space and time, preoccupied, yet not indifferent, anxious, and yet at peace. His name is Joseph Reardon. He is in the present year 30 years old, the first time he has made this journey alone. Now, that was the setup for the astronaut, played by Carl Held, that is on his trip. And then it basically leads into everything that happens, and we've discussed the story and done a sort of overview of it. Now, in the ending, which, again, to be fair, as Ross likes to always put it out there, you know what, if you haven't seen it and you don't want to be spoiled, just, don't listen for the next 2 minutes.
Hold your ears.
Yeah, here's the disclaimer. Now, with that said, after everything happens, I mean, Andrew and Noelle are very excited about being together, and they escape. They're looking forward to going to this new world because there's not going to be any destruction. They pass through the barrier, and then when they do, he realizes that what has actually happened. Yes, he saved humanity, but in so doing, he has become the man who was never born himself. We're always thinking in terms of the man who was never born as being
Right.
Cabot Jr., but
Right.
in essence, it's Andros that is the man that was never born.
Yeah, but
That's
why? I mean, was he tangentially related to
no.
because
No.
like, why would he not be born?
Now here's and this is where I'm going to lead in with this. So
You got to
again,
tell me, Roy, because I'm going to be
this is
going to keep me
this
up.
is with Vic
you know?
again, the control voice, Vic Perrin, and this is the he closes the episode with this.
All right.
It is said that if you move a pebble, it is said that if you move a single pebble on the beach, you
Right.
set up a different pattern and everything in the world is changed. It can also be said that love can change the future if it is deep enough, true enough, and selfless enough. It can prevent a war, prohibit a plague, keep the whole world whole.
I got that.
Yeah. So the point is, by doing that, it just changed everything.
So Bertram Cabot could have saved, like his grandfather from stepping in front of a bus or something, and but since Bertram Cabot was never born, it's like the alternate reality of It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
Well, you weren't there to save, so and so, and so everybody died.
Right. Well, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, oh.
So poetic.
I guess
justice.
my life was wonderful. Yeah.
So anyway, I love the music. Dominic Frontier,
Frontieri. Yeah.
Frontieri. He was amazing, and I know Dave and Dave's talked about him, but Ross, I mean, do you have?
Well, I do. I mean, we talked about him before. I don't know what we did where we, he scored a lot of movies, but he did a lot of famous TV themes. Also from back in the day, he did. What did he do? I jotted some of them down. Oh, Rat Patrol.
Sure.
Did the Flying Nun.
George. Yep.
What's that?
Christopher George, the Rat Patrol.
Yeah, the Flying Nun. He did The Invaders.
Yeah,
the Invaders and The Fugitive. But I remember he did the Stuntman, the movie with Peter O'Toole. It was one of Peter O'Toole's nominated roles. Yeah, he did movies. But I always remember him for the fact that there was that problem. His wife owned the LA Rams. Did you know about this?
I did not know that. Or if I did, I forgot.
So what happened was in 1980, for the 1980 Super Bowl, he got a hold of thousands of tickets for the Super Bowl, and he scalped them, which in itself was not really illegal. I mean, you weren't allowed to do it on the property of the stadium or what have you, but people did it. But for one thing, it was kind of an inside. They don't know the details, I don't think, but it seemed like it was kind of an inside thing since his wife owned the team. But what got him was the fact that it wasn't reported on their income tax.
Oh, okay.
So he got in a lot of trouble for that. So I don't know if they ever determined the details, but he did get sentenced for a year for that. And then he was on probation for something like 3 years or something. But, so it's kind of interesting that this known film composer had that sensational, kind of brush with the law, because he was such a prominent name. I mean, he's not John Williams or anything, but he's a name that was on a lot of stuff. He did a lot of music. Yeah. So there you go. I don't know if he got back to it after that or not, but yeah.
I really love the music for The Outer Limits because it could be horrifying, but it could also be very tender, and
Yeah,
just the way it would shift, and it does so well in this episode with his music.
yeah, yeah. Again, these guys worked very quickly. They were professionals, and they brought their craft to just like the actors did to
Yeah,
these shows. We don't really have that kind of training ground anymore.
yeah,
Because even before this, they had the live television when they had to really uh, have everything. Yeah, everybody had to be on. If anybody slipped, they just kept going. Yeah.
right.
Um,
Don't break character.
yeah. But I just read this John Williams biography, and it just really brought home the fact that we're just not going to have people like this ever again. It's just like everybody knows John Williams from the blockbuster scores, or before that, he worked in television. But then the further back you go, you realize, he started out as even in high school, he was a jazz pianist. He was learning classical piano, and he had aspirations to be a concert pianist for a while. And then he got, during the Korean War, he served in the U.S. Air Force, and he was in the band there, and he did all the arrangements for that. And then when he got out, he was doing arrangements for Victor Moan and Frank Sinatra, and it's just all the experiences this guy had that were tied to his personal history, but also the history of the country, kind of
Right.
the pop, in the world with the war, but the pop cultural history. You just realize that we take it for granted that John Williams just did film scores, but he had half a life. Well, he's 94 now, so at the point he did Star Wars, half his life was already doing other extraordinary things, and he worked with all the big film composers, like Alfred Newman, Franz Waxman, Bernard Herrmann. Yeah, I knew he knew Bernard Herrmann, but I didn't realize he had lunch with him like almost every day. It's like he knew him really well. It's like your head explodes. You find out he played piano in all these classic movies, like The Big Country and West Side Story and Funny Face and To Kill a Mockingbird. And I realize I'm digressing, but it's an example of the actors that came up at that generation, and
absolutely, and it ties into what we're talking about.
It's real lived experience. It's not like you're doodling around on a synthesizer and you feed it into your computer. And I mean, that's a kind of creativity and a kind of work in itself, but it doesn't come from real life. It's
well,
kind of
what it is.
isolated.
It's so different because it's so it's almost like it's so raw. It's the basics. It's being creative at the basic level. I think we were talking about this maybe a couple of weeks ago. I heard some folks discussing about, and one was a photographer, and he was talking about taking pictures, but he was talking about using an old style camera, like from our generation, a 35 millimeter, where you have to do the settings and you have to have everything set, and it's like almost saying, how do you do that, and why go through that? And it's like, but that's the beauty of it. It's you may not hit that mark, but if you do, it's the creativeness. I mean, being able to go on the computer and do different things is an art in itself. It's just a different art, and it's just I mean, we see it with that. We see it with CGI and basic models, principle. But I don't know. I guess every generation talks about the generation before it, or in terms of that, and it's scary to think of where we are now, and I can only wonder what things will be like, dare I say, like 20 years from now.
Where's the Star Child? Yeah, we're gonna get more HAL 9000 than Star Child. Star Children, I'm afraid.
Well, and speaking of which, this episode really has a lot of tone. I mean, could have been an inspiration for the Terminator, really, right?
Yeah, right.
Same type of story.
Right. Well, Well, any time travel story that goes beyond just they get in a time thing and go back and find dinosaurs. Anything that actually deals with the
Destruction of the earth in the future.
there's a term I could express it better, but I'm here drinking beer. Yeah, just the fact, like you say, about moving the pedal or the butterfly wing flapping or whatever, and it changing, having an influence. Yeah, like Marty McFly going back to the 1950s and something's out of whack, and if he doesn't fix it, he's going to disappear. His whole family's going to disappear. That kind of thing. Yeah. So.
One thing I wanted to bring up, and talking about Dominic. How did you pronounce his last name?
Oh, I say Frontieri.
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 Did you ever? He did the music. He did the music for a television show called The Immortal, which also starred Christopher George, and I love that series. And now that series only lasted like about 6, maybe not even 16 episodes. It came out in 1970, and that's actually something I would love to discuss on the show. And that's a question for our viewers out there: who remembers The Immortal? And if you do remember The Immortal, did you enjoy it and like it, and would you like to hear it discussed on the show? So just putting that out there. Christopher George sadly passed away many, many years ago. I think around 1980. So he's been gone for a while. And I believe it was heart related too. But he was kind of like a rugged actor, did a lot of stuff, married to Susan Day. No, not Susan Day. Susan Day George, right? Yeah. I'm slipping, Ross.
That's okay. I was just going to say, when you're talking about rugged actors, we're not doing the same Twilight Zone episode as I thought we were doing, but Doug McClure turned up in the other one.
Oh, right. Oh, there you go. Oh, Linda Day George. Linda Day George.
In addition to Doug McClure doing so many Westerns, he's kind of like the patron saint of Lost World movies. I keep trying to get us to do
one of his movies on the show a while ago.
Oh, we did Land That Time Forgot, I think.
Yep, we did.
Yeah, and I keep wanting to do Humanoids from the Deep. Is that the one, Humanoids from the Deep? Oh, no. Is it? No, Warlords from Atlantis, not Human. Let's not get it mixed up. Warlords from Atlantis is the one I want to do. That's the one I keep sending you the trailer.
Oh, there you go. Eva, take care. Thanks for joining us. She said, sorry, I have to head out now. Great show as always. Thanks so much.
Right. Sorry if we drove you out with our inanities.
Hey, Dennis. Good to see you out there. Thanks for joining.
Hey, Dennis.
And Dennis is joining us from Canada. And the Hague is out there. He's saying, what did I miss?
Hague.
Frontier, he said. Anyway. So if you haven't seen it, check out The Man Who Was Never Born, Outer Limits, 1963, episode number 6. Again, I want to say thank you to Dave Rash for that extra information that he shared. It's very much appreciated. So now we are going to jump ahead. since we has always had miscommunication, and it was funny because I have actually not seen the talk about not seeing specific Twilight Zone episodes.
Hey,
I'm aware of Mr. Denton, but I have not seen Mr. Denton.
Yeah, well, we have a half hour. We can watch it together. We can watch the one I was supposed to watch. Except, can we have a watch party, or will we get shut down?
We'll get shut down.
We'll get shut down. Oh well.
Oh,
I can't believe that I watched the wrong one.
That's funny. It's all good. Dave said Martin Landau also had the leading role in The Ghost of Sierra de Cova. This was both a pilot. I remember that you talking about this, Dave. This was both a pilot and full feature about a horror thriller film written, produced, and directed by Joseph Stefano.
Ghost of Sierra de Cova.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Dave has a script to that too. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that information.
Okay.
So I guess what we should do, Ross, is you know what? Instead of talking about the Jeopardy room, since you didn't see it, and I didn't see the episode that you watched,
Yeah.
Why don't we do this? The next time we talk about Martin Landau, we'll discuss both of those
We'll
episodes.
do
And
both of those.
we'll
Yeah,
do both.
it's unfortunate now that the Hague is out there because there were like a couple of connections I know he would enjoy with the Doug McClure connection and and also one of the actors. Is Pottstown in the area where you live, The Hague? I don't remember if that's in your vicinity, but one of the actors in that episode uh, went to school there.
Oh, really?
He was Philadelphia born.
What actor?
He went to was it the Hill School? Malcolm Atterbury.
I don't
He
know.
went to the Hill School in Pottstown, and I'm not sure. I always get Pottstown and Pittstown mixed up. I think Pittstown is close to The Hague, not Pottstown. Pittstown, I think, is where Yingling is brewed.
Oh, okay. Well, Pottstown is right up. It's only about an hour and a half from here, maybe not even.
Yeah.
The Hague said the other title for that Landau Stefano flick is The Haunted. Okay.
Yeah. And the other thing is that Doug McClure was with co-star with Shatner in the Barbary Coast, and I know he likes that show. It's a short-lived TV series.
1975.
2 hours away. Okay, wow. Yeah, nowhere near you.
Yeah, 1975, if memory serves correct.
Yeah,
and it had elements of the Wild Wild West, how he was a master of disguise, kind of like Ross Martin's character was.
Right.
Yeah, Pottsville, Pittstown. Pittstown is like down the road from me, Ross. It's only about maybe 20 minutes away.
What's that?
Pittstown, New Jersey.
Yeah, but what about PA? Is there a Pittstown, PA, or Pottsville?
I think it's Pottsville.
Pottersville. I think the whole country is Pottersville right now, but we won't even talk about that. Okay.
Well, it's always the Vills in Pennsylvania. That's the one thing that always makes me smile.
Yeah.
The one actor, John Van Drielen, he was. We'll save the discussion for another time. Because I really do want to talk about the Jeopardy room because you talk about it's even more simplistic than the Outer Limits episode as far as sets and everything, but it's just it's.
You want to come back and do it in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, we can do that. It's good.
Or do you want to do it next year? I leave it up to you.
No, we can.
Because I know we got Brian Johnson coming up, and then we talked about maybe doing something else in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming up as far as events and everything and scheduling. It's going to be tough, and I really want to have. And John's busy with filming Abnormal Fixation season 3, which is going to be out. It'll be more than likely be out in February, but they're shooting right now. But I want to have John back on the show. Just to talk about sci-fi as well too. So, and then also I want to have on Dale Morton, who I feel terribly bad because I was saying we were going to have him on in June, and now June is like coming to an end. So it's just a matter of just trying to get everything in, and there's only so many hours in the day, and it's a juggling act for sure. But yeah, we will. Why don't we do that though? We'll do that in maybe the next. Maybe like month and a half, Ross. We'll do the Jeopardy room and then we'll do Mr. Denton.
All right.
Since fine. It's fresh in both of our minds. So
then I'll have to set aside 25 minutes to watch the episode.
Yeah.
I don't know, Roy.
You're getting an hour back, Ross, because it would have been like a movie. So
yeah, right.
You're ahead of the game.
I guess so. I'll rewatch the one I watched though, because it had Dan Dorrier in it, and I was delighted to see that it was him. At first, I didn't recognize him. I said, "Wait a minute, is that Dan Dorrier?" And it was.
He's really good.
Cool.
Really cool. Alrighty, so I'm gonna go to the shout outs real quick, and then we'll come back and recap, and we'll go from there. Yeah. So let me present as I try to present. Oops. All righty. So just want to give a shout out to Jeopardy Room had like 2 sets. It did. Thanks, Dave. I'm glad you enjoyed the discussion. Really appreciate you being on as always, and I definitely want to have you back with Dominic too, Dominic Stefano, at some
And
point. And
thank you for your input. Yeah,
yeah,
that was
no, Dave is a wealth of knowledge, and Dave, like I said, he's like the keeper of the gate when it comes to the outer limits. I mean, it couldn't be in better hands. I mean, he's very passionate about it, and it's a wonderful show, and it's definitely in good hands. So again, thanks, Dave. I want to give a shout out to our friends Mike and Mary Beth for Sci-Fi Distilled. They are on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, so stay tuned. I believe they're not going to be on this week because of the Shatner event taking place up in Ticonderoga, which is going to be next weekend. So mark your calendars if you haven't already, folks. But anyway, shout out to Mike and Mary Beth for Sci-Fi Distilled, 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Wednesdays. Want to give a shout out to our friend Bill Scarrato for Country Gate Playhouse, Country Gate Theater in Belvedere, New Jersey. This 2026 season is here. Man, actually, we're almost halfway through 2026, if you can believe that. In fact, we're coming up on the longest day of the year, or longest days of the year, brightest days of the year. And I suspect Ross might have something for his shows that cover that, because he has done that in the past, but we'll have to stay tuned for those shout outs. I don't want to give any type of foreshadowing there, especially if I'm wrong. But anyway, if you are in the Belvedere, New Jersey area, definitely check out Sci-Fi. Yeah, I didn't think they were doing this week. I was pretty sure, Bill, but thank you. Country Gate, if you want to check it out, you're in the Harmony, Belvedere, New Jersey area. The website is www.countrygate.org, and that's for the theater. And Bill has his website, which is www.billscarrato.com. And Country Gate will be doing their youth performance workshop, which is going to be taking place Friday, July 24th, Saturday, July 25th, and Sunday, July 26th. And you can find out about information for tickets at the website. Also, as I was starting to say, the 60th anniversary celebration of Star Trek will be at the original series set tour in Ticonderoga, New York. It's going to be a big weekend, and it is coming up next weekend, folks. So check out the website, www.startrektour.com. 60th anniversary celebration. This is a big year, and it's going to be a fantastic event. So William Shatner is going to be there. Franz Nguyen is going to be there. Barbara Luna is also going to be there. And a lot of other people, the Inglorious Treksperts, Darren Dockerman. And also, it'll be a fun time. Definitely check it out. Again, www.startrektour.com. The dates are between June 25th and the 28th. Also, my friend Captain Phil's Planet. I talked to Phil last night around 1 in the morning till about 2:30 in the morning because I was kind of waiting up for Shari. And then I was getting delirious, and then I said, Phil, I gotta go. I can't keep those late hours anymore.
I don't know, Roy.
Yeah, I know.
It's like the middle of my night.
But anyway, check out Captain Phil's Planet, WUSB 90.1 FM, Stony Brook, New York. The captain's schedule is on Thursdays from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And then he's also on Friday nights, 10 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, except for the fourth Friday of each month. You definitely want to check that out. And also, Abnormal Fixation, as I was saying, season 2 episodes are out and released. John and crew are filming the 3rd season, which I believe will be out sometime in February for next year. If you haven't checked out this series, it's amazing. And yeah, I need not say more, but definitely check it out. And it's won a lot of amazing awards too, and rightfully so. It is really brilliant, and I can't say enough good things about it. And yeah, so definitely check that out. And also, these guys are going to be coming on the show sometime soon, and it's a matter of I've got to reconnect with them, with Tim Ellis and Craig, and they have done an amazing job with the Eagle 1976, and this was a reimagining of the Mattel Eagle that came out in 1976. So anyway, I will be having them on the show, Tim and Craig, and they've done an amazing job, and it's thanks to also Jamie Anderson for Anderson Entertainment. It really, it's pretty incredible. So anyway, I will have them on. We'll talk more about it. They were on the show last year, so they definitely will be revisiting. And also, Manchester 1999. The dates are September 11th, 12th, and 13th. And Nick Tate, and in fact, that was the one thing I wanted to say earlier. Now it's a good lead in. Nick's birthday was yesterday. Nick turned 84 years old. He's going to be there. Also, Anton Phillips, Suzanne Heimer, and also Carolyn Seymour. And Warren just actually added to the list as a confirmation. Johnny Burns' widow is going to be there. Johnny Burns was instrumental in the writing of Space 1999 episodes. And then also their son Jasper will also be there at the event. So it's going to be really cool. If you haven't checked out the website, please do so. It's www.space199950years.com. Again, www.space199950years.com. And also Return to Moonbase Alpha, as folks know about the Kickstarter, which was successful. And that is going to be filming up at the event. And it'll be before the event. But it's going to be pretty special fan film. So, in fact, Brian Johnson was well aware of it, and he gave his nod to it. So it's very special in terms of that. But anyway, that is going to be taking place, and a lot of information to come in regards to that. And I want to give a shout out to my son Ryan in regards to Run by Ryan, Empower Your Run. His website is www.runbyryan.com. You can check it out. There's no cost associated with the website. It's if you decide that you would like to have Ryan as a personal trainer, which you can do. There's different levels to it and those tiers, and that is where there's a cost associated. However, just to register to the website is free. And Ross, if you can let everybody know what's going on.
Yeah, well, Picture Perfect is going on right now. Let's see, that goes until 9 o'clock, and I'm doing, Steven Spielberg's kind of meditations on intelligent life from other worlds kind of thing. So I could do the new Disclosure Day score by John Williams. In fact, it's all John Williams. So, but already, at this point, I think the Disclosure Day music is done. I think I'm doing E.T. right at this moment. Which is streaming. You can listen to it at that website. But Close Encounters, obviously, War of the Worlds. That was on Picture Perfect tonight. Sweetness and Light is my light music show, and Lost Chord is unusual and neglected classical music. Now, Roy really just twisted the knife on me because earlier this week, I said earlier in the show, like my supervisor took off for vacation this week, so I had everything in. So I was going crazy, like trying to find stuff to send in. So I sent in this Father's Day stuff, not realizing that tomorrow is the eve of summer. And yeah, I always make a big deal, this time of year about St. John's Eve, about Midsummer Night and all that sort of thing, which traditionally isn't until the 23rd, although, it's connected to the solstice. And that's the time when I do all the stuff with the demons and the elves and fairies and that sort of stuff, those kinds of shows, but not this year. The patriarchy wins. It all goes to Dad.
Father's Day
shows on those times. Anyway, I write about them on my Facebook. I tease these shows on my Facebook page. So tomorrow morning, you'll be able to see what I'm doing on the other shows, Sweetness and Light, and then the Lost Chord. But for tonight, it's the UFO movies, the alien movies. And yeah. And if you haven't been to my my website, that's rossamico.com is what that is. Yeah. And it's basically the stuff you get on Facebook, but in a more permanent, usually more photos on there and that sort of thing. I dress it up more than I do on Facebook.
Yeah, and then for the folks to tune in, they go to kwax.uoregon.edu, right, Ross?
Yeah, I mean, it streams from there. But if you go to my Facebook page, there's always a link on the post, too, if you forget. So
okay,
it'll take you right there. You can listen live. Anyway, thank you. more than
Yeah,
enough time devoted to that. Yeah.
No, thanks, Ross. Appreciate it.
Yes.
And now, in regards to next week is the big Star Trek event. So there is no show that we're doing next week. So next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, Ross and I will be off because of the Star Trek event up in Ticonderoga, which is going to be amazing. So again, if you haven't looked it up or you haven't inquired about it, definitely check it out. So, but I will be posting when Ross and I will be back, and I suspect now we have to figure out our schedules because the following weekend after next weekend is the 4th of July weekend. So that'll be Friday, July 3rd, which is 2 weeks from today.
So that's what we're shooting for.
That's what we're shooting for. Yeah. We're shooting for July 3rd, Friday, July 3rd.
Yeah.
And that'll be a very special weekend because Ross has a very special birthday coming up, as does the country. Although Ross is a little younger.
I'll be 250 years old, everyone.
I knew it.
Thanks very much.
off comes the Mission Impossible mask, and it's only appropriate since we're talking about Martin Landau. But anyway, yeah, there you go. But what I can say is mark your calendars, and I didn't I talked about it earlier in the show. So again, on Sunday, July 12th, special time, 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. This will be the 311th episode. It will be Brian Johnson, a special tribute. So again, going to be talking about his work and going to be welcoming folks to come on with me just to talk about Brian Johnson and, how his work influenced you and what you remember from him, and just if you've had the opportunity to meet him, and we'll go from there. I just want to make it a special remembrance for him. So again, that's going to be Sunday, July 12th. So it's a few weeks ahead, but just want to put that out there. And that, I guess, is, as they say, Ross, is a wrap.
Cool.
But I want to thank everybody.
What?
Yeah, I said I want to thank everybody for being out there, for joining us as always. Yeah. And we really appreciate it. Again, if you have not liked or subscribed to the show's YouTube page, please do so. If you have not done it on Facebook, please do so. I want to do a strong marketing campaign just to get us out there, but just trying to pass the word. So anyway, and you know what? The most important thing to me is that everybody that watches the show enjoys our bantering and our discussions, and everyone can relate to the stuff we talk about. So there we go. Right.
There you go.
But yeah, again, Dale Morton, we will be talking about his book, Return of the Flying Boat. I don't know when. I, again, wanted to discuss it in this month, June, and June just got away from me. So, Dale, I apologize for that. I definitely will have you on. Just have to figure out when. It's just my schedule is just so jammed up because of all these events coming up. Like I was saying about Ticonderoga is coming up, and other things as well. Actually, Ticonderoga is in September. This is the Shatner, the special 60th anniversary event. Two different things. So, anyway. All right. Thank you, folks. Well, John said 10 minutes under schedule. The Oscars will be contacting you on how to do a show.
We trimmed the fat.
That John. Thanks, Marianne. Appreciate it. And thanks to all of our viewers. Really appreciate it. And as we always like to say to everyone, live long and prosper. Have a wonderful week. Have a safe weekend. Enjoy yourselves out there. And we'll see you next time.
Have a good weekend.